Let me say something that might take the pressure off right away. You're not lacking confidence, you're lacking proof. Most women in midlife get this backwards because we think we need to feel confident first and then we'll start something. But that's not how confidence works. It doesn't start first. It comes after you've started to take those few steps and you prove to yourself that you can do what it is that you're looking to do. Today, we're going to talk about fear, confidence, and how to actually start before you feel ready. I'm Jamie. Welcome to Second Act Simplified. This podcast is for women in midlife who want to start a side hustle or a new project without shaking everything up in the rest of their life. We're into week 4 of the Second Act Starter series. This is an 8-week series where we're walking step by step from feeling stuck to actually starting something that fits into your real life. There's no pressure here, no dramatic changes. These are just practical steps to get you there. Let's talk real quickly about what we talked about in weeks 1 through 3. Those episodes will also be in the show notes. It's important to talk about them because each week builds on the next. Week 1 was all about getting unstuck. We talked about how to feel unstuck in midlife, and feeling stuck is very normal. And you've built this career and a life, and now you're sitting here thinking, is this it? What can I do next? Instead of trying to find the perfect idea, we just need to start somewhere. And that's where we do a tiny test. It's low pressure to see if we can just get enough movement to get started. Week 2, we tackled the biggest excuse and the biggest reality, which is time. You're busy, you have a full-time job, responsibilities, and people depending on you. We reframed that. Instead of waiting for more time, we looked at where are your pockets of time going and are there things that you could be doing differently? We're looking at our fringe hours and using those small pockets of time to start something new and be intentional about it. Week 3, we stripped everything down because most advice out there makes things way more complicated than it needs to be. And most advice is focusing on building a business and not just getting started. And while that's great for people who have plenty of time to build a business, many of us don't have time to tackle everything all at once. And if you're focused on everything at once, you're probably not going to do much of anything because then you're just overwhelmed. We're going to keep it simple and start with just one realistic step that you can get started so you don't feel overwhelmed. All right, so now we're into week 4. You have an idea, you found the time, and you can even simplify the plan of what you're going to do. But maybe you still didn't start. Why didn't you start? You were either afraid or not feeling very confident. But underneath that fear is a belief that you have to feel confident in order to get started. It's a self-perpetuating feeling. You're not going to get started if you wait to feel confident. You need to get started so you can build confidence and keep going. Confidence is not something you sit around and wait for. It has to be built over time. Every time you take a small step, you create a little bit of evidence. Evidence builds confidence. I can do this. That wasn't that bad. Oh, I figured out how to do that. That's where your confidence starts to grow, not from thinking about it, worrying about it. It's from doing something real, even if it's a small step. Starting before you feel ready is the whole point. If you wait to feel ready, you're going to wait forever, or you're just not going to do it because ready usually means I won't fail, I won't look silly, I will know exactly what I'm doing, but you're not really going to feel that way if you don't start. So that's how you learn. And honestly, some of that for me has been the most fun part is just learning how to do new things. I'm all for get started, figure it out, you will get there. Every single person you see doing something that you've admired started before they really knew what they were doing. Even if they thought they knew what they were doing, they would tell you that they looked back and had no idea what they were doing because they've learned so much since they finally got started. That's the shift. You're not trying to eliminate the fear. You're going to learn to move forward through it. This is where we bring everything together. You don't need a big leap of faith. You just need some small proof. Proof that you can show up, you can follow through, and you'll figure things out as you go. What might this look like for you? Again, these are some examples. Doesn't mean that's exactly what you're going to be doing. You could record one podcast episode. You can write a blog post. You can create your Pinterest account and start pinning, sharing an idea publicly, reaching out to one person, not a full-blown plan, not a business launch, just the first steps to get you going. I mentioned this last week, When I started my blog, I literally focused on writing blog posts. Before we even launched, we had over 20 blog posts written. Then we continued to write so that at least once or twice a week, we had new blog posts going. Then we added on Pinterest. I started a podcast. That did not happen right away. I wouldn't have been able to manage it. There are days where I don't always feel like I'm managing it in the best way, but I have experience in place. Now I can record a podcast episode. I also turn that into a blog post, and then I do a Pinterest pin. If I have time for some other things, I will do them, but I am using the same material each time. That took a year and a half before I had the time and felt comfortable doing it because I had the resources and the knowledge to build upon what I started with. Definitely not something I recommend doing is doing all those pieces at once, because then you won't keep up with it. You need your evidence to turn into confidence. If you take nothing else from today, please take this. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something that you're going to build. The fastest way to build it is to take that first step and build on it and feel ready. Here's what we covered today. Confidence comes after action, not before the action. You don't need to feel ready to start because then you'll never start. Small steps and small actions create real proof, and that is what builds confidence. If this episode helped you start thinking in a different way, make sure you follow along for the entire series. If you want help figuring out what your next steps might actually look like, go to my free resource, the Second Act Pathfinder. It will be in the show notes. It's a simple way to get clarity based on your life, your time, and where you're at right now. So if you want something to just brain and bounce off against, here's some of the ideas I have, here's what I'm good at, here's what I'm thinking about, and you want to iterate on that, this resource would be great for you. If you know another woman who's been saying, I want to start something, but please send this to her, and I'll see you in week 5. Thanks so much.